Well, Angel, it happened. Admittedly, I wasn't excited for it to happen. I don't want to say I didn't care, but I mean, I cared, but I wasn't like enthusiastic about the fight happening as far as itself. I kind of like excited for like the grandeur of the event. I want to see how Netflix did. I kind of want to see how many people tuned in. I want to see if Mike Tyson could pull off the impossible, if he could turn back Father Time. In the end, he looked exactly like a 58-year-old man out there who nearly died in June. He had one round. I gave him round one, I think, pretty cleanly. I don't think Jake Paul landed more than one or two shots in the first round. He kind of just stood back, tried to clinch. Round two, more competitive. You could give it to Mike. I don't remember if I did or not. But then round three, Jake Paul rocks Mike Tyson with a trio of left hooks. And from that point forward, this thing turned into an exhibition. I'll give him credit. They actually did fight genuinely for the first 3 rounds. But after that point, Mike got rocked. And it was all, it was basically just a show from there. Jake Paul is standing back, trying to land some jabs. Mike Tyson really just trying to slip any sort of punches that came his way. Ends up winning by unanimous decision 80-72, 79-73, 79-73. Angel, give me your thoughts on the fight, man. Were you intrigued? Were you entertained? A lot of people hated the fight. Give me your overall thoughts, man.
Okay, so to kind of run down everything a little bit there. I thought everything, no bullshit. This literally went all exactly as I thought it would go. Nothing was different.
Yeah.
Nothing in my mind has changed. None of my opinions have changed since or before or after the fight. I thought the fight was gonna go either one way. It's either gonna go to distance. Mike was gonna get carried through, or Jake was gonna go out there and try to obliterate him. I thought Mike was gonna look good for like 1 or 2 rounds. He looked good for like 1 round, 1.5.
Yeah.
So yeah, in that sense, all of that went the same. The event itself, it looked nice. It was presented well. It was at a big arena. I called it on the show. I don't know if I said it live. I know I definitely said it in private. I was like, I think there's gonna be some streaming issues without a doubt.
Oh yeah.
They were bad, and they were way worse than what I thought they were gonna be. So hopefully they get that all sorted out, because there's a lot of potential here for something pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
And like really making big events and giving people accessibility across the world to like watch big events like this. Because this was a global phenomenon. It's a big pop cultural thing. Like, a lot of people were talking about it. And another thing I wanted to say is, fuck you to everybody who called us dumbasses for saying that we didn't know boxing, that we were fucking casual. I think another reason that people would tell us those things is because we thought that Jake Paul was a better boxer. No. The thing is that if it was how old is Jake?
27.
If this was a 27-year-old Mike Tyson versus a 27-year-old Jake, Mike would have obliterated Jake in the first round like he did in his prime.
He would have ripped his head off and shit down his neck, basically. That's what would have happened.
Yeah, so we never. The thing is, it's like the boxing skills of Mike were never in question. That was never an issue. The only issue was his age. I work with people who are elderly, who are around Mike's age at times, who are on one end of the spectrum pretty decently healthy, and on the other end, dude, I know how these people move. I know how these people function. I actually, at round 3, when I saw Mike kind of get a little tag, a little wobble, I bullshit you guys not. I actually began to tear up a little bit. I didn't tear up, but I felt the feeling in my eyes if I was going to begin to cry, because I knew what could happen to him and what could follow that up. And to follow that statement up, Mike released a statement on his Instagram that I will read to you guys. First of all, he thanked everybody for the fact that he was able to do this and put himself in this situation and come out. And he doesn't regret any of his decisions. But people shit on us because this fight still happened. But I want to quote something from Mike directly. He said, "I almost died in June. I had 8 blood transfusions, lost half my blood and 25 pounds in the hospital, and had to fight and get healthy to fight. Had to get healthy so he could win this fight." There was no way this man was ever going to come out here and do anything. And I knew that back then, even before I knew for a fact what had happened. And this only reinforced it. And that hospital situation on the plane and all that even reinforced my feeling more of knowing that he was probably not going to end up having a good showing. And all I'm going to say is, in the great words of a movie, are you entertained? Are you not entertained? Because I'm not surprised that you're not.
Yeah. Look, man. I mean, I did a kind of like a full-length video on the channel where I talked for like 10, 11 minutes, kind of like my full-length thoughts. And I'll kind of reiterate a few of these here, but I'm sure if you guys have watched them, you've probably already seen that one. I mean, look, I thought the fight looked pretty much exactly what I thought it was going to be. I thought if this is a serious pro fight and these guys went balls to the wall, Jake Paul was going to knock him out. If it was more of an exhibition type, if he's going to outbox him for 8 rounds. That's basically what happened. I didn't start tearing up or anything, but I did before the fight happened. I was watching with a couple of casual fans, and they were like, "Yeah, so Mike's gonna fuck him up, right?" I'm like, "No, like I don't even want to watch this fight. Like I genuinely don't want to watch this fight because for me, like, and I got shit on repeatedly in the comment section for saying that this fight should not happen and that this fight was gross and that Mike was gonna get hurt and he was gonna look bad." And every single time I would say that, people in the comments like, "Oh, you're a fucking pussy. You don't know shit about boxing." Like, "Oh, what are you, a fucking liberal?" And it's like, dude, like. He's a 58-year-old man.
They call you a casual, or if you thought Jake was going to win, you were a casual. It's like, no, motherfucker, you're the casual.
Yeah.
You're the casual. We're thinking that Mike's going to win.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Mike Tyson made me want to pick up a pair of boxing gloves, man. Like, he's one of my boxing gloves. Made me want to get into the sport. I've watched so many fights, like the Andrew, even these older fights, man, where he was like kind of older, like the Andrew Galata in 2000, where he just beat the fucking piss out of him, had him quit on the stool. The Clifford Etienne knockout when he came in there, my back is broken, spinal, you know, all that shit. Even from later fights in his career, man. But at the same time, I'm not going to be delusional. He's a 58-year-old man. He was going in there under the worst of circumstances. I said this back a week or two ago. If this fight would have happened whenever Mike Tyson was 38, he kills him. 28, let me just rephrase. 28, he might literally kill Jake Paul. Mike Tyson at the age of 28 might literally kill him. Mike Tyson at the age of 18 literally will kill him. Mike Tyson at 38 demolishes him inside a round. Mike Tyson at 48 defeats him within 2. Mike Tyson, if he would have had Roy Jones, probably beats him by decision. But the reality is, this is a man that had a knee injury heading into the fight. He nearly died in June, and he's 58 fucking years old. Yeah. The fight looked what it was going to always look like.
The guy who fought, what is it, Donovan Razor Ruddock,
yes,
is fucking gone.
He's gone.
He's gone. He's still here. Like, the person still remains. That body, that knowledge is still here. But the guy who fought that guy that night and had those 2 fucking bangers is fucking gone. It was just a reality. People didn't want to admit it to themselves. They were like, old man strength, this, that, and the other. Guys, no, like, if you watch, you can even, dude, in fighting, how often do you see at the highest level the younger guy beat the older cat, the guy who was champ, the guy who was dominant, the guy who was the best? And even in those scenarios, the age difference is much smaller and the skill gap is significantly closer. In this scenario, the skill gap was bigger, but the age was so wide that it didn't matter.
Yeah. And the reality is that Jake Paul is not a good boxer. He's not. But he's a young man who's been boxing for 6 years, is taller than Mike, you know what I mean? And you could just tell, like, in camp, they probably just worked on jabbing, clinching if Mike got close, so on and so forth. And yeah, sure, if you want to take a moral victory out of this, Mike made it the full distance. You know, he did look good in round 1. Like, at the time, I was like, oh, cleanly won round 1. Cleanly, maybe even won round 2. You know what I mean?
That's what I was thinking too.
So, but at the same time, he was never going to be able to replicate that across 8 rounds. And the second he started gassing, you saw Jake open up, and what happened. Afterwards, Jake said that he carried him, which, like, defeats the whole purpose of carrying somebody. Because it's like, you're kind of, if you're carrying somebody in boxing, you're doing that for one of 2 reasons. You want to protect the guy's dignity, or you want to go ahead and make sure the fight's fun for the fans. Floyd against Conor, I've never really thought of that like a carrying situation. And I also think whenever these guys say they're carrying, they're never doing this out of the goodness of their heart. They're doing it because if they lose trying to get this guy out of there, it's way worse for them. Think about Floyd Conor. He sat back for the first 3-4 rounds. I don't think that's because he wanted the fight to be fun. When the fuck does Floyd Mayweather ever cared about having fun fights? It's because he wanted to let Conor gas himself out. In this case, Jake probably knew either I knock out Mike Tyson, who's 58 years old, and I might send him into a fucking coma and become the most hated man on the planet, or I try to go in there and try to catch Mike Tyson and knock him out, and I get caught, which is even worse outcome because then you're losing to a 58-year-old man. So, yeah, man. I mean, the fight sucked. It was what it was. 108 million people tuned in, though. One of the most watched boxing matches of all time. Do with that information what you will. It was a freak show fight. This is where the Jake Paul experiment's gonna peak. You know, this is it. You're not gonna get bigger than this, even if you go out there and fight for the heavyweight title.